Hello, everyone. We are live. We are acting up already. I am so excited to have with me. Welcome to Real CC or CC's Two Cents Worth, where we're on every Friday at 10 a.m. And we try to talk about things that are real and relevant that's happening right now. So on today, as you can see, I have on my "I Can't Breathe" T-shirt. Just kind of the mood that everyone is in right now, and so we want to talk about what it looks like from another generation. And so I have two of my favorites with me. I'm going to start with Terrell. Terrell Scott was just kind of thrust into activism, but I have been like stalking his page because he is woke. He is woke. And it's so funny because I remember him growing up. And he was always the quiet one, always quiet, didn't have too much to say, always observing everything. And so now to see him kind of coming into his own and doing what he does, it is just such a proud moment to see him evolving into the young man that he is. So we have Terrell here, and he's going to introduce himself. Um, and I want to introduce Levon Dixon. This is my husband's best friend. So we are always dramatic and fighting with each other. But I love me some Levon. I've kind of watched her grow up as well, and to see who she has evolved into. She is always outspoken, always talking to the youth, always working, always trying to make sure that people understand who they are and their worth, and just being an example of empowerment. So I wanted to have two young people on here that are not just talking about it, but they are about it. They're being about it. They're talking about what's happening and what's going on now. So with that being said, this is live. We are live. We got a couple of people on. What we want to do is this conversation is interactive. So if you have any questions for them, if you want to join in on the conversation, just go ahead and we'll be sure to make sure that we put your comments up. It's just a little bit more housekeeping things. If you all want to be a part of the conversation and you have some things that you would like for us to talk about, um, even on another time or at another occasion, you can just feel free to email. And I'm trying to find the email address, and you can be a part of the discussion. So just email me, and we will make sure that we get you on as well. So with that being said, I'm so excited to have these two young people on here. I'm sad that this has to be the occasion that I have them on here, because of what we need to talk about and where we are right now. But I am excited. So Terrell, you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you?
Oh, well, yeah, I'm Terrell. 28, born in Richmond, went to J.R. Tucker, went to Gaffney High School in South Carolina, came back, where I attended Virginia Union, was there with you, got to bother you, see your face. Um, I'm a father, Air Force reservist. Um, Again, I am typically quiet and shy in manner, but I don't know. I guess I'm starting to find my voice.
I love it. I love it. Okay, Levon, tell us about you.
I am Levon. I am 28 as well. I recently just graduated from Virginia State University last month. Um, I'm also a youth director, and this is very interesting that you called me to do this because I just had this every Thursday we get on Zoom and we have like Bible study. And yesterday the layout was different because we talked about this whole racial situation and dealing with George Floyd and stuff, and how important it is that they understand what's going on even at a young age. They age and range from like 9 to like 15. So this is like right on time.
Okay, all right. So this George Floyd incident has taken on a movement and a momentum that we have not seen in a while. This is very different, and we talked a little bit before about how we started with the Civil Rights Act. We talked about that, but this scenes, it feels very, very different. And I think it feels very different because you all are woke. Y'all are woke. Y'all are like not going to sleep ever again woke. And I think today is like day 16 of people being out there in the street saying, we demand justice. This has to end. And I was sharing with someone that my generation, we heard about stuff. We didn't have cameras and we didn't have that. So we saw pictures of things that took place. And it was normally after the fact that we saw the pictures of everything that was happening. But you all got to see from the beginning of how this started. You all got to see everything. So, can you all just for a moment, 8 minutes and 46 seconds, we watched someone lose it. It wasn't something somebody told us, it wasn't a still picture. What did it feel like to you when, for 8 minutes and 46 seconds, you saw what happened?
Um, what's the word? Squeamish. I think I'm very squeamish. So I, for one, didn't watch 8 minutes and 46 seconds.
Okay.
Um, I couldn't do it. I would have been in a bad mental state. But I think I did watch at least like a minute and a half. And then when I looked to see how long it was, and I scrolled to the end, and he was still down there. I said, this is ridiculous. And you just sit there. I sat there and I said, what in the world could this man? Because at first I didn't know the backstory. I kept seeing it shared. I think I just woke up and I saw like what was. I honestly had no idea what was going on. So I watched and I said, what is happening? And then when I got the backstory, I said to myself, I said that little incident caused this to happen. I said it was so minute, but somebody can walk into a church and kill 9 people and walk out standing up. You know what I'm saying? Like he's eating, he's getting fed,
Facts.
he's getting treated properly. And what but once I saw the backstory, I was like literally floored. I was dumbfounded. That's all I have to say. I just couldn't believe that that's what happened. And then I couldn't believe that it was so many officers around that did nothing. Because I feel like they're just as at fault as the person whose knee was actually in his neck. That's how I feel.
Mm.
Facts.
Yeah, and that correlation, I think Terrell and I both was like, yes, because he walked out of there um, after he shot 9 people with a vest on. We see him with a
Right.
vest.
Right.
We see where they fed him and everything. And we see this time and time again. And so here, this is an African American man with they're just thinking that they have a thought that he did something illegal, and this is how we see. So Terrell, as a black man, how did you feel?
So personally, I didn't watch it at first. Probably I just watched it recently. I couldn't. It's not that I didn't want to. It's just I couldn't. I heard the audio. It can be traumatizing
Mm-hmm.
because it's not the first instance. Every time a black man gets killed, it's some video that's circulated throughout social media, and it, it's traumatizing. As a black man, seeing another black man die for little to no reason is terrifying. Like, I don't know the psychological term, but like generational post traumatic stress. Like, you go out. For instance, I was going to pick up Bray the other day, and a cop was behind me, and I all of a sudden started getting like really anxious,
Wow.
frightful. It shouldn't be that way. It's it's really like a mental game.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's just really hard at this point.
Yeah, and when I think about it, I think about all of the young men like yourself, my son, nephews. I think about all of the men that I love, my husband, that has to be out here on the street. What if they run into someone like that? You know what I'm saying? And for um and I will say this at the onset. all officers are not bad. So all officers are not um like those that we saw. You know, we do have some good officers out there. And these officers that we saw actually give good officers a bad name. But that anxiety that we feel is so real when we have a police car behind us because we don't know what we're going to get. We have no idea. And so when you were talking about being traumatized, I think Terrell, we got into it a little bit on your Facebook page because I was talking about this mentality that we have.
Oh yeah.
It's a slave mentality.
Yes,
Um,
massa.
Right, it is, and it has attempted to infiltrate where we are even right now, and we see that because that is the main thrust behind white supremacy. That I am superior to you, you are
Right.
beneath me. I should dominate you, and so it appeared that this is what took place. What do you think about that? What do y'all think?
It, I think it was just over abuse of power, like authority, like simple as that. If our trained military has rules of engagement in how they handle things, there's no reason a cop should, oh, I feared for my life. Oh, he was resisting arrest, and then the guy is dead. Like there should be proper channels, proper things you execute before you take those measures.
Hmm.
I personally feel like it's a problem all across the board, even in your everyday work life. I feel like it's used and abused. I'm pretty sure everybody has experienced it at one point. And back to what you said about there are some good cops out there. I know like a very good cop who's like close to me, and he is honestly struggling at work because of what's going on. It's actually crazy what the good cops are dealing with as well. And I know that that's a topic. Don't stick up for the cops and stand there, but we have black officers who are in uniform who are not getting treated correctly because of what other police officers have done. So they're getting it from both sides of the spectrum. So these people are scared to go to work,
Yeah.
and I'm talking about black people. Not I don't know a white cop, but our black brothers are scared to go to work.
Hmm.
That's crazy.
And we talk about we're talking
Yeah.
about vocations. We're talking about microaggressions and how people, we like to say stuff slick out their mouth,
Hmm.
thinking we're not going to understand the code that they're speaking. Like they'll say, "Oh, you're very articulate. What am I
Right.
supposed to be?" "Oh, you surprised me the way you carry yourself." What? Really? Have you all dealt with any of that?
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, you say, "Oh, you talk educated for a black woman," and you especially get that because um, I'm a dark skinned woman as well. So you get people think the lighter tone woman is more educated, has more poise, more classy, more sassy, or something like that. So I definitely get that as well, and it's very weird. Like I don't understand. What do you expect?
Yeah. Like growing up, I got a lot of, oh, you act, you talk white. Like, what does that mean? Just because I choose to carry myself in a different manner, articulate my words, use proper English doesn't make me any less black than the next person.
Right.
Right.
And I feel like that's something that needs to be handled within the black community as well because it can be it can really mess people up. And then you have it causes like say black people like Omarosa or someone who has so much self hate that they are blind to what's going on in the world today.
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah, I can't remember this other young lady who said, and I don't even want to give her credit by saying her name, but she was saying that he was a thug, and um, she understands why this happened, and if he wasn't a thug, this one. Y'all heard what's her name? Is it Candace something? I don't know.
Candace Owens.
Oh, the girl who got like shut down from like GoFundMe or something, right?
And I was saying that
Yeah,
because
her.
Terrell had brought up the self hate
Mm.
that, and I was like, did this chick really just say this? I did not understand the concept of what it was that she was saying, because she said, because he had a criminal record or whatever. And so, along those lines, I have been sharing with someone, it doesn't matter what someone may have done in their past, they
Right.
still have the right to be treated as a human being. And the fact, you shouldn't even treat an animal the way Mr. Floyd was treated. You shouldn't even have your knee on the neck of an animal. And the fact that, I think the thing that bothered me the most, that angered me, was that he was so smug about it. He was like, I'm it was no remorse, no caring, no empathy. It was just, I'm going to do this, and I don't care what anyone thinks, and I don't care about what anyone says. And that was horrible to me. And I think that that was a wake up call. So as far as, everybody was talking about, we woke, we woke, we woke. Do you all really think that that this has awakened something in people? What do you all think?
Um, I don't think so because I think we've always known it was we always known it was an issue to us. Like I think Will Smith said racism didn't go away; it's just now being recorded or some or whatever that quote was that he said.
Yeah.
I believe it to be
Yeah, you got
very
it right.
um I believe it to be very true because this is not the first time. We've had like multiple I mean, I'm glad that the revolution has like started to get to this point, but we've been dealing with this for like it's so many people that have passed. Like even I know Trayvon Martin did die from police brutality, but even stuff like that. You have Freddie Gregg, Philantro, Castile, Sandra Bland. Like it's so many people. I honestly think we've been woke. I just don't understand. I'm waiting. I don't understand what took it so long to get to this point where people to realize what's going on. Not us, the other side, I guess. For other people to stop what they're doing, like all these companies. Like when I went on like so many websites, you go on H&M's website, they have a statement right there. People should have been saying something. Like, what were y'all waiting
Right.
for? It's been like multiple people, and even like you said about how the animals. That was another reference that I thought about as soon as it happened. The other young lady who called the police on the dude in the park, they immediately took her dog away. Y'all really like care for this dog that much? I know people love their animals. That's cool. I said, but y'all care for animals more than y'all care for black people, in my opinion. That Michael Vick career ended over dog fighting, and people are killing people, and their life has not been affected. I will never understand that. I will never get how people can go on living their life with murdering people, and I get that people love dogs. There are animal lovers out there. I know you're a dog lover too, but I can't choose an animal over a human. That's just me. So that's how I look at certain things, and I think it's crazy.
Yeah, and to just piggyback off Levon. I mean, yeah, some of the masses have been woke for the longevity of everything happening, but it's just nowadays with unemployment on the rise, people have the time, people are at home, people are in fear of getting sick. It's just so much added on that I feel like this was finally like the metaphorical straw that broke the camel's back. And people like at this point they're already fed up. They have lack of income, no job, uh, struggling just to make ends meet, and then on top of that, you add police brutality to our worries. It's I just think people are tired.
So my question is, so I was having, and I told you all this before, I was having a conversation with a young lady who is in your generation. Um and so I'm a little older. I was still cute, but I'm a little older. and so and so for me and for your parents, we saw stuff like this and we talked about it. And for some of us, we tried to tell the story. We tried to make sure that you all had the best of everything. But we tried to tell you all the story of civil rights, of Juneteenth, the story that was not being told in school. And I remember having a conversation and just talking about and we were talking about actually about Bird Park, because at one time African American people were not able to congregate in Bird Park. They couldn't be over there, and
I didn't know
there
that.
was a yes
No.
yes, there is a woman, there is a black woman that actually owns a home over there that was telling me about how when she and her husband moved in, they would put signs "No blacks allowed," and how they had to actually fight to purchase the property over there, that we could not be in Bird Park, that it was restricted to us. And I was telling, and I was sharing with the young lady because I was so enamored by it. The When I got licensed at St. Paul's, the clerk at the time who signed my license was responsible for integrating. She was one of the young ladies that integrated her school district right here in Virginia. And so when I would share like little tidbits like that with stuff that I knew about, people would say, "Oh, that's ancient history." You know that we don't do that no more. That's ancient history. And I'm thinking to myself, that was not that long ago. That's not ancient history. That was a couple of years ago. And so my thing is, and I hear Terrell, you make a very compelling point. We home now. We ain't got nothing else to do. But why is it that this is such a wake up call? This has been happening. We've been talking about this. What makes this so different? That people are incensed on both sides, not just African American people, because I looked at some pictures in Seattle and I didn't see a whole lot of black people out there on the street. I saw our Caucasian brothers and sisters holding it down in Seattle. And in every in every demonstration that we've seen, it has not every demonstration I've been a part of, it has not just been African American people. What do you think made this ancient history become our reality that people are paying attention? What did it do for you?
Well, for me, it how do I word it? It was just because I'm a father now, so I have to think about these things. Like I don't want my future children, even Braylee, to grow up having to like have that mentality that you spoke of. Like, oh, I have to be a certain way to appease the white man so I don't get killed. So, and even for myself, it's people younger than me out here getting killed for little to no reason. So it's just a wake up call. I mean, I don't speak much, but I feel like I'm passionate enough to where I want to use my voice as a platform.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my main reason. Just thinking about my safety and everybody. I mean, everybody deserves to live and not have to worry about police brutality. They're public servants here to serve and protect. They're literally taking our tax dollars and killing us. So it's like, why not speak up against it?
Mm-hmm. And you say you have Braylee. How old is she?
She'll be 5 in September.
Yep. And she's absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So is your motivation not just you, but Braylee? When
It's
you look at
everybody. I
Braylee,
mean,
what do you see?
a bright future. And I'll be damned if someone gets in between her and that.
Absolutely. So by any means necessary.
Exactly. Like, I, I'm not, in my, I'm not a violent person, but I understand violence. You can't have
Right.
change without it. So, mind you, I'm gonna try to talk to you, but again, I understand that it can get violent. So, again, by any means necessary at this point, it's crazy. Like, we shouldn't have to feel that way.
Right. Right. And I think I saw something that said violence is the language of the unheard.
Mm-hmm.
With the
Yeah,
riots,
riding.
with what was going on, and people were saying, I can't believe people are tearing stuff up. And so, I shared something with someone, and I said, what people are doing. I said there are a couple of things that are going on. I said, one, you're always going to have the wrong element there. You're always going to have the opportunistic element. So no matter how peaceful it starts off, you're always going to have the opportunist that's looking for something to cloak so that they can do something wrong. I said, you're always going to have that. I said, but with the statues that are coming down, I am still floored that here in Richmond, they dragged Christopher Columbus
And
and
put
threw him in the lake. I was like, because I wanted to see, first of all, I wanted to see, or I was curious as to how in the world did they get him down.
that's what I'm saying.
I
It
was
made me
like,
laugh, but I was
what?
trying to figure that out too because I saw the city talking about taking the statues down, this, that, and the third, and the article said they were trying to figure out how to do it. And then, like the next day, the citizens just went and
It
did
it
it.
was it was down.
They was
I
like, we
was
figured
like,
it out. Don't worry about
yeah,
it. We got it. Cause I actually went over there and I was like, they pulled it, they drug it, and then they dropped it. And I said, metaphorically speaking, it is this generation's way, and our generation joining in of metaphorically tearing down these things that
right,
have been up for a long time. These symbols of oppression,
and,
these symbols of
Yeah.
slavery.
right,
It,
and
this is our way of metaphorically doing it. Go ahead, Amon.
I would say one thing about my generation, I feel like the generations before us, they had more tolerance. This generation doesn't take we're a generation that has to prove ourselves. We're talking about a lot, looked down upon a lot. We hear a lot of backlash. Oh, y'all are the future. We don't know if y'all can do it. The future's in y'all hands, this, that, and the third. We don't have a lot of tolerance and we don't take disrespect very well. So we're gonna take things into our own hands. And that kind of goes into what we talked about before we went on live about the saying I'm not my ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
That's where that comes in because our tolerance level is not as high as the generations before us. One, because we've read the history books, and then reading that stuff makes us mad. When you go to the Black Museum in DC, when you go to that Emmett Till thing, that make you feel something. So therefore, your tolerance level decreases more and more you see something. So now, when this George Floyd thing comes up, it's like, okay, we didn't have enough. My great grandma went through this. My grandparents went through this. My parents went through this. Like at some point, this has got to stop happening. Like Terrell said, he has a 5-year-old daughter. There's a next generation. What is it, Generation X and stuff after us? We have to put
Yeah.
nipples in the bud before this keeps going because we are literally. I know history repeats itself every 20 years, but some history we don't have to repeat.
You talking now, and it's not to say, and it's not to say that we don't respect our ancestors,
Right.
because
It just
really, I could be considered y'all ancestors. It's not that we do not respect our ancestors. It's we are because of who they are. We
right.
we are we are the essence of who they are. Everything, the spirit of the ancestors is what keeps us alive. And when we tell our stories, when we acknowledge them, when we are grateful to God, or as some people, when we are grateful to the Creator for our ancestors, we honor them. So we should always honor them. But they're, like you said, the patience level is a little different, and the
Right.
tolerance level is a little different. Now, so it's in no way meant to be disrespectful to our ancestors. It's just saying, in a way, my ancestors may have walked away. My ancestors may have, and Terrell, I know this one gonna get a face from you. Our ancestors might decide that they gonna pray for you, but it ain't happening
Nah.
with me.
Mm-mm.
I'm sorry. I because of my ancestors and because of their spirit, because of I know who they are. Cece is not taking it. Cece will not, under any circumstances, we're gonna confront it and we're gonna deal with it right there. So,
Right.
so I I hear you say, when I went to the museum, I felt some type of way. But what do y'all feel about the history y'all have been told, like how Christopher Columbus decided to discover America? I mean, how long did y'all hear that?
Oh
Oh,
man.
old school. I'm gonna be real.
Yeah.
When you go to unless you self-educate, you really need to go to HBCU. Because I think what was I taking? Sociology or psychology? I was taking something, and I learned so much stuff that I was like, "Oh, that's crazy." They was lying. I really couldn't believe it how much stuff wasn't the actual truth. And then when you go read, and then when you go research it, on your own, they're not telling. I don't know any other way to put it. They're not telling the truth. It is what it is. Like, I don't even look at Christopher Columbus. They're the same anymore. Like, it just is what it is. Like, people have got to teach
He
the truth.
discovered America, Levon. He came over to a place where there were already people, but he discovered it.
And then when you think about that, you have to use your common sense, your critical thinking, your comprehension, because that doesn't make sense. How can
It
you
doesn't make
discover
sense.
something? How
Yeah.
can you
Like
how can
So
you discover something
Terrell,
when people already
so let
live?
me ask you this. You have Brayley, and so how would you explain this to Brady? Because the same the same history that they taught me, that they taught you, is still in the curriculum for Brayley.
and that's an unfortunate truth. I mean, I'm just gonna have to do my due diligence, educate myself, and then pass that knowledge on to her because obviously they're not gonna get in the school system. I stated on Facebook yesterday. I remember my one of my only African American like field trips you can say was to a cotton plantation,
Oh my
and
God, that
they
one.
yeah they had
I
the
was
audacity to
floored.
send us little black kids out there with a sack to pick cotton. Like
That's crazy. Have y'all seen that meme where it says, "I can't believe in Virginia they really took us to slave plantations"?
right,
And I thought
They
about it.
they took Terrell.
I
right,
said
like
that's crazy. We went to Jamestown. We went to Monticello. We went to like everywhere that wasn't good. Like that stuff in Chesterfield. We didn't go to anything that was uplifting to our people. I only went to things that my people were oppressed. Like we were never
right.
celebrated. Like it's and I sat there and I thought about it. I said, yo, that's crazy. And then somebody made the comment and said, and our parents signed the permission slip. I don't think that we I don't think that we realized what we were doing. I'm serious.
Wait,
Like somebody comment, that comment had me weak. But they
we
commented
signed
and
a
said,
permission slip.
yeah, like
So
that was an eye opener. And even like
wait,
you said, Brayley's gonna be learning the same stuff you learned. You crack it up. Oh,
I didn't even think about that part.
yeah, I'm telling you, I don't think our parents realized what they were doing.
Nah,
It just sounds like a good thing that your kid is going on a field trip, and then you're gonna end up being a bad parent if your kid don't get on to go on a big trolley bus and
Right,
eat a Lunchable.
right. So either
So
way, we
I
would.
kind of get it, but I'm gonna tell you what the sad thing is. Burley's not gonna get the same education that you got because some of my kids in the youth department, there's so much stuff they're not learning. Like no joke. I asked them, did they know who Emmett Till was? They're not even teaching that. So some of the Black history that we learn, they're not they're not teaching it. I make the kids do research. We learn biblical stuff as well as educational stuff because
Right.
they're not teaching this Black stuff. I think they're probably gonna learn Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks, and that's it.
That's
I
It's so
it.
many
mean,
other there's so many other Black people that they have no idea who they are. And I was
right.
Terrell,
honestly
Terrell, let me ask you this because you were out there with your sack picking cotton.
that's not even funny.
So Terrell, you could have wrote that meme. So what? I mean, how do you feel as an adult now? And is your mama watching? Theo, why you sign that
She right
permission
here.
slip?
She like over there.
I'm just teasing.
She over there.
She signed the permission slip. I feel bad too because I signed some permission slip.
But no, as an adult,
so so how did you feel when you realized?
Sign the paper because my very first job at 7 years old was a sack and picking cotton. My
Wow.
first bank account, $16 was from picking cotton. So I had told you
Wow.
about this stuff, but I signed the paper because I wanted you to see what I was telling you. I wanted you to feel
Wow.
at that point what I was telling you because I knew that it was going to be depressing.
Wow. So how do you feel about it now, Terrell? How do you feel?
Now, I mean, back of course back then I was ignorant to the fact of, oh, it's we're just out here, picking cotton. Now it's just like, why? Like, and it was a inner city school, so it's plenty of black children out here in this cotton field picking cotton. Like, I don't think they took the time to think about the repercussions that could have, like, further down the line once we become educated. Like, oh, they did they think that much of us that they could only take us to a field trip just to pick cotton? There's plenty of museums they could have taken us to, but yet
Mhm.
I, it's and it all roots back to like systemic racism. Like, it starts in the schools. Oh, we're not gonna show you the accomplishments of your people, but yet let's go out to this field plantation and show them where they die day in and day out, blood, sweat, and tears. So it's just like you're already putting us out there with our foot in the door to the like not be successful.
And then on top of that, you couldn't keep the cotton.
No,
So you,
Wait a minute.
you
Y'all
right?
was picking cotton for free? Oh, that's
man.
trifling.
Look,
I'm
they
not
That
took the bags afterwards.
so
right.
what they
So
were
so
doing
you
was
had to
they were
take it. You had to take it once you had picked it. All that you wanted to pick that you found, you picked it and then you turned it in.
They missing a part.
And
yo, that's
Y'all
trifling.
missing a
I
part.
don't know that I'm glad I didn't go to
Too
that.
much
But like you said
Terrell,
about
got to the
that's
field.
crazy.
Terrell.
How we
So
got to the field was worse than us getting
so
there.
when you had to you turned it in, right?
yeah,
Okay.
Nothing
So
about the
look,
cotton.
so Dana, and I'm putting Dana up, said it is my understanding that reality of history has been sugarcoated for way too long. People have not heard the real
About the
stories,
cotton.
and this is the education system failing all students who want to learn. The generation of today is smart and they know what matters. The idea that they can see beyond the bullshit and are willing to do something about it instead of sweeping it under the rug. So if you're looking at your screen, you can see that what Dana is has added and contributed, and Dana is absolutely right. Um,
Right.
you are
yeah.
seeing beyond it, and you're not sweeping it under the rug. What would y'all say about that?
I agree wholeheartedly. Like, because it's not doing anything but being a disservice to people.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
How can you expect us to be great men and women of color, but we don't know our heritage, our history,
Mm-hmm.
the accomplishments of our people? So it's like, oh, black people are lazy, but yet y'all don't feed us the information and knowledge we need to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, that statement is dumb in itself. There's no way we can be lazy. And we built what
Yeah,
y'all
like,
have. Like we are y'all workers. There's no way that we're first of all of that field trip alone was free child labor. First of all, that's it was illegal, first of all. Because that's just silly. I can't believe they didn't let y'all keep the cotton. That's crazy. Um, her whole I have nothing to say. Her statement is true. I agree.
yeah,
I, it's a like it's a sad reality. It really is. And my thing is they take you on those field trips to play with your mind. Like you said, like we went to no good. I cannot name a field trip that I went on that was uplifting. Like that first of all, that Holocaust museum is very traumatizing. Um,
right.
I was put in a gas chamber to see like that's crazy. They showed me how to crawl through a hole, how to escape. Like I, I my kids need to get homeschooled because this is terrible.
Yeah, like,
The school system is ridiculous.
What are your thoughts, Terrell?
I mean, I agree because I've been to the Holocaust Museum plenty of times throughout school, like, and it's the same effect every time. It's not that I learned anything; it just scared me half to death. Like,
Right.
these people really went through that. Like, teach us something uplifting. Like, everything that we've been taught as far as like anything that had to do with social injustices, rather it be the Jews or blacks, it's always been in a negative connotation. They've rarely shown like any of the limelight, like any actual successes of our people. And then
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, and I was just saying it shows like because I'm a 101 at Huguenot, and it shows in our like black kids like they're okay with the bare minimum. They don't know like their potential, and it
Hmm.
starts like in those early ages when they do field trips like that, watering down our African American education. It shows.
So I remember one field trip that I used to take people on because of where I worked at the time, and we would take them to what is called the Great Blacks in Wax Museum, that's in Baltimore, and that is at the it's near the Baltimore Inner Harbor area, but it's called the Great Blacks in Wax Museum. And I remember when we used to first go to the museum. Um, that it started in the basement level of the building, and we would all cram into this room, and we would go through what was called the slave ship experience. Now when I first started going, they had an orator, and he was and I've gone so many times, so they were amazing. And they would tell the story. And so I remember the first time going there, when you talk about feeling some type of way, the first experience we had was in a room where we sat on benches, and they made us squeeze in. I mean, there was no personal space. So we were all squeezed into this space, and they explained this is how we came over on ships. And then they walked us through a room where we could hear people moaning and groaning. And we walked through there, and you kind of went through a spiral. But at the top, you would see the success of African American people. So, do you think that that is, because even going through the gas chamber and all of that, that's a part of history. But do you think that the history should have been balanced with this is what was, and this is what now is, and this is who we can be? Because we can't forget, we cannot forget the Holocaust,
Right.
we cannot forget slavery, we
Yeah,
cannot forget these things, but we can say that that was this, but look at how they've overcome this. Look at how they have
Right.
learned and evolved and grown. And so one of the, kind of trying to transition us with the little time that we have left, one of the things that we experienced was we had the first African American president. He will be my forever president, President
Right.
Barack Hussein Obama, First Lady Michelle Obama. Two amazing examples of how you can make it in this world. And
Mhm.
they're educated, they just have it, they have it, and they've worked hard for it. But your thoughts real quick about this. Some people have said, well, what have they done for black people? And what are your thoughts about that statement?
Well, one is that museum still open that you just talked about?
I believe that it is Great Blacks and Wax Museum in
Okay.
Baltimore.
I guarantee you, how you said that, how the model is. I think that museum in DC took after that, because you notice that's how you start off at the Black National Museum. You start off at slavery.
Yeah,
You
but
haven't been?
I don't even want to talk about that. I've gone. I've gone a couple of
Oh.
times now. But I
Mm,
but the one in Washington is amazing. I love it. It has so much information. So much
mhm.
information. It is us. I love that museum. The only thing that I had an issue with, and maybe it's my little logical brain, and maybe I got spoiled by the Great Blacks and Wax Museum, but they went through each period. So
Mhm.
mm,
whereas at the big museum, you're here, there, and everywhere. You can
Okay.
see this here, you can see that there. But at the one in Baltimore, the Great Blacks and Whites Museum, they tell a story. They tell an
Okay.
entire story, and
I
they
get you.
start at slavery and they end in current time. And so when I went to the museum in Washington, I guess my mindset was that I was going to see something similar. The information, everything that's there is absolutely amazing. It's just a little different than what I had
Okay.
first experienced. So
I'm gonna check. I'm gonna check that out. But
yeah,
to
you
answer
gotta
your
check that out.
question, to answer your question, not to be real deep, but I try to not look up to so many people, because man will fail you. Ideology is a thing. But to me, the Obamas are the ultimate example. That's just my opinion. I feel like had many obstacles. I feel like I remember when Trump was like really, really getting on Obama about this whole like birth certificate thing. Like, and I thought that was the weirdest thing in the world. And they, they were like really trashing this man, and I felt like he handled it with so much integrity, so much poise, so much class, and that's why I like that was one of the main reasons why I look up to them the most. I feel like they, you know how sometimes if somebody like keep nagging, you're gonna respond, or I gotta say something. They really don't do that. Not too much, and if they
Yeah,
do, it's gonna be very,
They
very,
go
it's
high.
very, very right, 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 right.
they have
So
classy
to me,
snapbacks.
right,
Yeah.
right, and it's not. They don't do it all the time, and it's not petty. It's not catty. They talk when it's very necessary. And to me, they uplift of people. And I'm gonna be real, even doing this whole dealing with our current president, I feel like they are still inspiring. They have taken on that role as president and first lady of the United States. I think so many of us say that is our forever president, that is our forever first lady, because I feel like they carry the responsibility well. If you want to know how to handle the weight of something, you look at the Obamas.
Hmm.
Right.
So
Yeah,
to
because
me, that's
I
what,
don't get into that pettiness.
right. Okay, what? I said right way too quick, but whatever.
Terrell, what's your thought? I had to do that
So
because
my,
LeVon and I have petty wars. We have
I
petty
saw, I
wars.
peeped it. I
Okay, we
peeped
have
y'all.
petty wars.
The
I love them, but we
Obamas,
petty.
the Obamas for me, especially because I was what, we were what in the 10th, 11th grade when
Yeah.
he got into office.
Hmm.
It was just like a symbolic representation that the black man can accomplish anything.
Hmm.
Like, and he carries himself with such class and poise. It's like you have
He's
no
so
other reason but
smooth.
you have no other like you can't do anything but be inspired. Like
Hmm.
through all the adversity he's gotten, even after presidency, he has Trump on his back for what? The man's out of office, and yet he still is an unbothered black man, and
Hmm.
that's just like he's on a pedestal. I mean, I do understand the whole ideology thing, and man can fail you, but as far as like Obama, he has been like an idol as far as like where I want to be in life. Even though I don't want to be in politics, but just his whole demeanor, how he carries things, how
Hmm.
he reacts. Like not every action deserves a reaction, and I'm starting to understand that.
Hmm. He so a lot of times what I tell people is that we as humans oftentimes look for people to blame when something doesn't go the way we want it, and instead of taking responsibility for what we can do. There are things that we can do, and so I kind of want to end on this, and I'm not I want to talk about the election, because even when he was in office, the midterm elections that would have decided some of the things like who would sit in Congress and stuff, we sat those out. We showed up for the major election, to make sure that he was in office, but there was always a consistent fight that he had because he did not have his party as the majority to be able to do some of the things that needed to be done. And so yeah, there's some things that he should have done. He wasn't perfect because Flint's water is still dirty.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why he was in office. And if we could take billions of dollars and send $1,200 out to everybody, then there was some money somewhere that we could have fixed the water system at Flint, which was under his shift. So I'm not saying that he's perfect and that there were
Right.
things that could not have been done,
Yeah,
but I'm just saying that we failed to show up to give the support that we could have given, as far as making sure that people were in office that had his like mind, because the ultimate seat of power is not at 1600 Black Lives Matter Boulevard anymore, or 16. It's not at there. It is at the Supreme Court. because the
Hmm.
mind of the Supreme Court actually shapes the laws, the rules, and the regulations of our nation. And that is the concern, because if you get a bunch of ignorant people on the Supreme Court, then all of these rollbacks we're going to see happening, because they're going to put things in the court system to go to the Supreme Court so that it can be ruled on. And we see so many things happening, even in higher ed, with rolling back requirements of reporting things, and people get it, and it doesn't favor us, it favors others, it doesn't favor us.
Right.
So my question is, do you all think, we ain't got but a few minutes, but do you all think that we are going to see the Obama turnout to get um, our voices heard in the polls? What do you all think? And just talking to your peers, because I still have people on my timeline saying I ain't voting. I'm not, and they just irritate me so, because I'm old and I'm tired. But they get into this. It's the lesser of two evils, whether it's Biden or the current president that we have. What do you all feel is going to happen?
I don't know if I'm too hopeful, but I honestly think the turnout is going to be good. If y'all do not know, June 23rd in the state of Virginia is our primary election.
Absolutely.
You do not know where you're supposed to go. Vote, figure it out. I work the polls. I'm like, I forgot what it's called. I'm like the deputy or something. I actually have a training to go to Saturday. I have a training to go to Saturday. It is very important that I don't. Something's wrong with your timeline, because my timeline is saying that they're gonna go vote. It
Okay.
really matters. The precinct I work has 4,100 voters in it. In the last couple elections, we're getting a turnout of 2,500, which is absolutely ridiculous. And one of the other elections, it was less than half. And all you have to do is just go out, and it honestly matters. Like you said, Obama didn't have the right people, backing him. It is very important. I'm dead serious. I know I honestly said this to one of my closest friends. I said the last election that we had, I said, if you do not go vote, I will not talk to you. I'm very serious, because this is a big deal. Like,
Hmm.
certain stuff has to change. We have to have the right people in office. It's a lot of stuff going on. At this point, it's life and death, which is
Right.
ridiculous. So
Literally, life and
we
death.
absolutely need to go vote. Pin that on the little comment thing. June
Uh-oh.
23rd,
Go vote.
Virginia, go vote.
Okay. 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 We got it. Okay. All right, Terrell, what's your thoughts? What do you that you were out there with the bullhorn? So proud of you.
Surreal
Thank
So
nice
you.
picture.
proud. So listen, he was not just marching, but you were out there inspiring, and that was, for me, that was such a proud moment. I was like, it was awesome. It was awesome that you, on the fly, they asked you and you were able to encourage a generation. So you were looking out at people. If you were the people that are out here now, what would you tell them about voting?
It's crucial at this point in the game. Even, and it's way beyond the presidential election. We have
Hmm.
to start voting in matters that affect our community directly. Like,
Mm.
oh, that's what I've noticed about people of our generation too. Like in the past, they always thought about the presidential election, or oh, that's not going to affect me. But you do also have other primaries that do affect you directly, like governor, mayor, things of that nature. So I think people are starting to like get a fuel for their fire. I think it's going to be a pretty good turnout.
Okay. So you think
Yeah.
you think the folks are coming out?
I mean, I would hope so
Yeah.
for everybody's best interest.
Everybody's best interest. And like you said, it's important to vote in our local stuff too. I just had an internship when the what was it open? The house and all that stuff was open. We were doing our bills and stuff. It was so much stuff that would have helped us as a community to get past, and they denied it because the wrong people were in house. And I was just sitting here like, how did these people get in office? And it's because people do not vote for local elections. Like, Virginia has one of the lowest minimum wages out there. They wouldn't approve the bill because they didn't have the right people downtown.
Back
That
in it.
stuff matters.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get Levon told me I need to make sure that that's down here to scroll that. Listen, July 23rd, Virginia primary,
June.
go vote.
Don't confuse the people. June 23rd.
It that
Y'all remember
June
when I think when we were young, the 2004 election, Diddy had that campaign and actually need to bring it back. That vote or die thing, that is serious.
Oh yeah,
I think
yeah,
who did he want? I think he didn't want like John Kerry or somebody in office, but Diddy was adamant about that. And honestly, some he needs to bring that back because he was a major voice. He got a lot of people registered to vote, and that's another thing. When people have influence like that, they need to be way more vocal. Matter of fact, I'm gonna
mm-hmm.
message him on Instagram and tell him bring
yeah.
that back.
Yeah. So now the conversation is, withhold your vote because I think Charlemagne and um who else was it? It was a couple of people that had gotten together and was saying hold your vote. Don't just vote for Joe Biden because the choices look as if they're going to be Joe Biden and or the current person that occupies the office. Those look like the choices, and now they're saying things like withhold your vote. Have y'all heard that?
So I saw that, and I didn't research it, so I can't speak on it. But I saw the headline. I know exactly what you're talking about.
So
It was
what
like
would
him
your
and Barack.
thoughts be about that? Well, because
Uh,
because I did. I thought it was a joke. I said, who says that? And then, other people are joining and saying, withhold
yeah.
your vote and make sure. Terrell, go ahead. You saw it?
No, this is my first time hearing about it, and
Oh,
if
okay.
I'm taking it in the right context, withhold your vote. Like, so are they saying not to vote? Like,
Yeah.
First of all,
what
that's
is that going to
ignorant
help?
not to tell somebody to vote.
That was my point. What is
What is
that
that going
going
to
to
help?
Because
help?
That's still going to put Trump back in office if
you're
we
gonna
don't
be
go out
That's
complaining
and.
for
how
the
he got
next
into
4 years.
office. That is how, because if you look at the statistics on that, and I put a graph up one time before, there were hundreds of thousands of us as African Americans who did not vote, and as a result of that, that was how he got in office. We could have easily shifted that, and people were like, "It's the lesser
Right.
of two evils," and that was the thought process behind it. And so now I hear that same ideology again. It's the lesser of two evils, and hold your vote until what he's going to do for us. And and I've said this before, and I've said it again. Is he perfect? No. Did he make legislation that was not helpful to us at one time? Yes. But who is the same person? I am not the same person I was 20 years ago. You all are not the
Right.
same people that you were a year ago, 2 years ago. Your life has changed as a result of all that you've experienced. So to say do not go out and vote, to me is just ignorant. You
It
have to
is.
vote for your future, and we're not voting just for us, but we're voting for Braley. We're voting for the next generation so that they won't have anything. So
I'm just disturbed to hear that. Not to be all churchy, but my
Right.
apostle always says, when the right voice is silent, the wrong voice take the stage. And that's just silly for Charlemagne to say that, to tell the people not go vote.
look,
Like you
well,
should just be
Yeah, that was a waste of a platform.
waste of
right,
a
a waste
platform.
of a platform.
Like,
So,
you see what Trump has done. Like, we're here. Like, everybody sees this. Like, why would you even second guess anything that will possibly put this man back in office? Like, pandemic, uh, social uprising. All this has happened within how far are we into 2020? Six
right,
months,
6 months.
and it's damn near the end of the world, and yet you don't want to go vote.
We are on
Okay,
Jumanji level 6.
someone got the simulation up too high. Like, the difficulty is too high right now. Like,
So Dana said to us, she said, I want to thank Levon and Terrell for being on today and being able to hear your perspective. And y'all have just blown her away with the field trip. Y'all
Well,
have
here's
blown her
what worse than
away.
mine. I never went to a
And
slave
and
plantation.
just like Dia saying, and that's a
what?
beautiful little girl in this picture. Uh, for Agnita, this is Brayley. And she said, we need to vote. And the greater lesson is after the vote. It's our responsibility to hold them accountable. Absolutely. Absolutely. So yes, absolutely right. So Lamont made sure that we knew June 23rd is the time to get out and to vote. And so with that, I want to say thank you all for being a part of the discussion today. You all never let me down. You are consistently wonderful, and for that, I'm grateful.
Thank you. I, ca-
Thank you for the
I'm holding my phone.
You gotta hold your phone.
Yeah, I can't do it. So
So I want to say thank you. This is all a part of the Living Love Foundation. It is a nonprofit arm of 7th Street, and the goal of the Living Love Foundation is threefold: is to educate, empower, and excite. To educate people about what is available to them, to empower them to be greater than they ever thought that they can be, and to excite them about what the future holds for them. So the Living Love Foundation is responsible for all of these things that we see. Thank you so much. I want you to know that Living Love Foundation is doing a movie night. We're doing a movie night. It is on Juneteenth. We are doing it at our building, and let me put that up real quick before we go. It's going to be at 3014 Meadow Bridge Road. Um and it's going to be at 6:30 p.m. starting. We're working on a special presentation. We can't give out any information about that, but I will say that this presentation is going to be amazing. Um, let's get that up there. So 3014 Meadowbridge Road at 6:30. And what we're asking everyone to do is to bring your lawn chairs. We're gonna have some free drinks, some hot dogs, and maybe some snacks. And we're just asking everyone to come out. The movie for that night is The Wiz. The old version of the Wiz. It is of no cost. We're not charging anyone anything. We just want to come out and just have a real fun community night on Juneteenth. So the address is there, 3014 Meadowbridge Road. That is our main location for 7th Street, and what will be the headquarters for the Living Love Foundation. So just bring your chair out. We're gonna have a little music, a little dancing. I really want to do, we got to do at least one slide. Whenever we get together, we gotta do at least one slide. So maybe we do the cha-cha or something, but we're gonna have to do at least one slide, and then we're gonna watch the movie. And we're working on a really, really relevant presentation. So we're working on getting the rights to that so that we can show it. And I'm just tickled pink about that beyond measure. So again, we want to thank Terrell Sky. Thank you. Keep lifting your voice. Keep fighting for Brady. I am so proud of you. The world needs
thank you.
you, and they need your voice. And so you said, I'm finding my voice. We're excited about what you found already. Keep finding it. Keep finding it. You know I got your back. Levon,
Thank you.
you're finding your voice too. You've always been loud. You've always been loud. But it's because you know who you are, and you have found your voice, and you are evolving in it. And I'm really, really proud of who you are becoming as well. And you know that I always have your back as well, even though you are my husband's best friend, whatever.
He's such a hater. He's such a hater.
That's all right. I'm gonna make Terrell my best friend. How about that? So I got my best friend too. But I love you both. Thank you all so much. I appreciate you. Our time is up. So we're gonna end. Thanks for everyone for tuning in. We appreciate everybody. All right. Love y'all. Tell say
Bye.
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 All
Bye.
right, so yeah.